pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You remain standing for the invocation.
So, Father God, we just thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to serve you here in our county. God, I just pray that you would give us wisdom as we, make some final decisions for the end of the year. And Lord, we just pray for Ted Siebert's family, Lord, that as they mourn his loss, God. Again, we just give you credit for the work that we do here. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. We'll now call this session of Fayette County Council to order. As a reminder, if you have cell phones or any electronic devices, if you could please silence them. Our county attorney is out of town. He has other business he has to attend to tonight that was a little more urgent, so I told him to, by all means, to attend that. Has everybody had an opportunity to read through the minutes of our October 6th meeting? If so, is there any discussion or corrections or additions that need to take place? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a
Holly made the motion to approve. Mark seconded it. It's going to be a competition between them all night tonight.
I think it's our last meeting, we gotta...
We have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes for our October 6th meeting. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes as is, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'm sure there's no committee reports. Commissioner? Nothing from commissioners. Okay, you have nothing either?
Not yet. I'll wait till patron concerns.
Okay. We have nothing under old business. Under new business, we have Becky Marvel here with the Extension Office. She'd like to give a report. She wasn't on your agendas, by the way, so you just snuck her in.
Sorry about that. We thought we were on the agenda. I'm Becky Marvel, a Community Wellness Coordinator at the Purdue Extension. I just want to give a little end of the year report for all of you, just to show an appreciation. The Nutrition Education Program of the Fayette County Purdue Extension team wants to come before you today, not to ask for anything, but want to express our appreciation to the Fayette County Council for supporting the Fayette County Purdue Extension Office financially, as well as your leadership support. Even though the Nutrition Education Program is funded through a grant through the USDA, since 1994 with the Purdue Extension being the grant holder, it is through your efforts to provide the office space for this program that works to improve the nutrition and health of audiences with limited resources in Fayette County. Purdue Extension recognized the efforts in our county community of working towards improving our health and the need we have for nutrition education. So for the first time, they have added 2 additional staff members, which are going to meet here in just a minute, last January, at no cost to the county. Again, thank you for supporting the local Purdue Extension office to provide the office space. I'm going to hand out an impact statement report as we're going to talk a little bit more about what we have, the NEP program has brought to our community. This is my 10th year working in Fayette County with the NEP program, and has been very exciting to see changes take place in our community towards health, which has a huge impact on every sector of our community to be successful for the future. In fact, as I was wrapping up my 5th year as a Community Wellness Coordinator, which is focused on building community partners to help bring about policy, systems, and environment changes to our community, we're excited to announce that in the past year, NEP has brought to our community over $1.4 million in grants, goods and services, employment, and volunteers. We were able to bring staff and students who are top in their fields from Purdue University to work here in Fayette County, which represents Purdue Landscape Architect Department, Community Development, and Purdue nursing students. The local office has developed a very strong tie to Purdue University, which has brought our county state recognition for tapping into this fabulous free resource to better our community. When COVID-19 brought many challenges, and Purdue Extension has taken the challenge to address the new issues and still connect people with resources through education and services in different formats. The NEP team has focused this past year on food insecurity, nutrition, physical activity, food safety, and food resource management, which we know will make our community stronger as we conquer these hurdles. Again, thank you, Fayette County Council, for supporting the Fayette County Purdue Extension Office. I would like to introduce Kelly Isaacs and Carrie Piper, who's going to tell just a minute what they are doing to bring to our community, again, free of charge through the Purdue Extension.
Hi, my name is Kelly Isaacs, and thank you again for all your support and for recognizing how important that this program is. I do the adults in Fayette County, Claire does the younger people, and for the longest time, it seemed like in Extension there was a lot of, maybe a lack of leadership, or there was just a lot of unanswered things. It is not that way anymore, and I am so proud of that office, and to say that I work alongside of them, because they have come so far, and I feel like they're just getting started. They really have formed an amazing team, and they are always willing to collaborate with us and work with any program that we have going, and we feel the same about them. So that's a nice compliment to each other. So Carrie, you want to come on?
Sure. Hi, my name is Carrie Piper, and with Kelly, we represent the nutrition education program out into the community. So we do the education classes. Kelly services the adults by doing classes, and I have the privilege of working with our youth. So 3rd grade through 8th grade, and then hopefully next year we'll have a high school curriculum as well. I go into the schools when we can go in. I go virtually when we can go virtually. We have YouTube videos. We are doing our best to get our program curriculum out to the youth of Fayette County. And one of the things that we stress is making really good food choices. So we can all use in our life some more fruits and vegetables, correct? That's what we teach. And we promote is more exercise, 30 minutes of exercise a day, half of your plate fruits and vegetables. And so we brought a little goodie for you guys. I brought some dark chocolate muffins. Thank you. But of course, being the nutrition education program advisor, yes, that's a recipe, so you can go home and make more. When you taste them, they have pumpkin in them. So they're very rich and yummy, and you get a serving of vegetables. So we are just so excited to be working with the Extension Office, and wanted to say thank you, and wanted to give you just a little bit of an idea of what's going on out in the county through the Extension Office. So thank you guys.
Thank you for your work. Appreciate that report. We especially appreciate the muffins.
Enjoy. They're chocolate chips in there.
They're really good.
See, commissioners, what you missed out on?
Becky?
Yes.
We got them. Yeah, they got them too.
Becky, I just want to say that I think you have really good staff down there.
Yes, we
You
do.
guys have made some great strides. You know, Holly will agree with me, and I'm really happy to have every one of you down there.
Thank you. And we appreciate your support, and we were very excited when we did just the nutrition education part, $1.4 million. That's really exciting in a year to bring back in the community.
Yes.
So thank you. We appreciate the county and your support and supporting the Extension Office so that we can be part of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Bill, you're next on the chopping block. I mean on the podium. Bill Mackey, I forgot there's 2 bills.
Okay.
I said chopping block, Bill McDaniel jumped up, so he must know he's guilty of something.
Yes, I'm applying for federal aid for a bridge, a county bridge. It's actually Bridge 32. It's on County Road 50 North, just about a quarter-mile west of the Willowbrook Country Club down there. And what I need is for President Winter to sign, it's just a financial commitment letter, that if we're lucky enough to get the award, that we'll pay our fair share, which is 20% of the total cost. And this will be built if we get the award in 2026. That's the call outs is this month, and then it's for construction year 2026. And the engineer's estimate is $1.4 million for this bridge total, and our commitment would be about $280,000, and that comes out of Cume Bridge. So it's not general fund. It'll come out of Cume Bridge. So basically, when I send my application in next week, I've got to have a commitment letter. And the commissioners already signed it today, so it's just the council president has to sign it. So that's basically what's going on.
No problem. Does that mean that I beat Trump?
Yeah.
I need a big fat
Do you
Sharpie.
need a motion to approve the signing, Rick?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. The only bridge we got right now is Bridge 90, and that's just north of Erie Avenue on Waterloo Road. That's going to be built in 2022, so we've got to get more in the pipeline, in order to keep them flowing. So that's the reason we have to do that. So hopefully we're lucky enough to be awarded the money. We'll find out probably in January sometime. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Next up is our meeting schedule. So Jane has gone ahead and emailed everybody a PDF with our meeting schedule for next year. I believe everything is on Tuesdays because there's no election next year, so I haven't confirmed all of them. I just went through a couple of them, but we need a vote on that to approve the meeting schedule for next year.
Also moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Also,
Kayla seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Not knowing what next year brings.
All those in favor of approving our meeting schedule for next year, just indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you. Claims. Forgot what that was. Email here. There's a claims packet information. Do you have that?
she just told me to add that on there, but today's the latest for me.
Here's my folder. Here, Dale, should we talk about the claims? Dale?
Every part of
The
it.
claims?
What about the
He
claim?
just says claims on the agenda.
Commissioners do claims that. I don't think there's no recall it.
She might have, I know what she did. There's an item missing on ours that was probably, she probably used yours as a template, you never really left it on there, so we'll go over that then. So ordinance for stipend in lieu of health insurance. So, I think everybody knows what this is. It's the additional dollar, was it, those that are 65 and older qualify for this with a Medicaid, I believe it's a supplement, because they don't take the county health insurance. So, yeah. Did I say something different? Okay. So we just need a vote to either approve or disapprove this. Bueller?
Make a motion to approve the ordinance for the stipend for those eligible employees in lieu of Medicare insurance.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the ordinance number 2020-08, an ordinance allowing stipend in lieu of health insurance for Pike County employees eligible for Medicare. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Oh, also, if you haven't signed the minutes from last month's meeting, do you have them here or is it in Jane's office?
She told me to print them off, so I printed it.
Okay. I guess I'm referring to October's meeting. This one we have to sign too. Just forgot about that. Thank you. Next ordinance is HSA contributions. That's ordinance number 2020-09, an ordinance allowing deposits of county funds to employee health savings accounts. I think that's obviously a good ordinance to have out there. Helps our employees with their manage their expenses and prescriptions and so forth. Is there a motion to approve or otherwise?
So moved.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2020-09. Do you have a second? Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Bob, what we're doing, we typically sign all documentation during the meeting, Bob.
Pardon me?
We pass around the paperwork to be signed during the meeting. We always try to have everything signed before the cameras go off.
Okay,
No, just, it's, I'm
Just as a
not
heads
joking,
up.
it's
just a heads up.
just so
okay.
you, we're wondering what we're doing. Okay,
I just sign here for Colin.
I would say so. Does he sign where Kathy Rhodes' signature is? Or
Yeah.
if it's October, maybe not.
right,
Because the minutes,
he would
yeah.
not sign October.
Yeah, you wouldn't sign October.
Okay.
All right. So this is something that I'm happy to report on. In 2016, going back that far because it's Jane and I are talking, we were our county general budget was working on a deficit of $200,000 at the end of the year. Since then, we've managed to increase or make that deficit get smaller and smaller to the point where it no longer exists. We used to have to borrow from Cume Cap Bridge or Cume Cap Courthouse or whatever. We borrow from different funds to pay the bills. And of course, some people that don't understand how these budgets work, these different silos work, and when we receive draws on things, you know, be under the impression that we didn't know what we were doing. We couldn't budget our own finances, but the fact was we had to rob Peter to pay Paul. Well, we're not in that situation anymore so far. The beginning of this year, in June, prior to our budget hearings, I met with all the department heads. Some of us were there as well too, some other county council members were there as well too. And we had the grim task to ask them to cut 15% out of their budgets because of the COVID and the nature by which it was and all the unknowns that we'd be facing. And unknown to me, I was quite surprised at how hard our department heads worked in accomplishing that goal. And they met that ask. They didn't question it. They were very dutiful in their positions to make sure that they did the best that they could to do that. And our goal was to not have to lay anybody off or affect pay of any kind. And we were able to accomplish that goal. We, of course, were uncertain how hard we'd be hit with COVID. That's why we were put on the 15% figure. Gary, Jane and I sat down and we kind of talked amongst ourselves, the different entities, commissioners and the council and the auditor, to see if that was a fair ask or if we needed to ask for more. We were hearing that other departments, other counties were asking for 20%, and we didn't want to have to do that because we knew it would be a very difficult thing to do. We applied for some COVID relief funds, and at the time I believe we thought we were only going to get about $2,000 worth of expenses reimbursed to us. That wasn't going to help us. So with that being known to us, we applied for, and with the help of, was it Hall? Who helped? Was it Rob Hall? Or Bob, what was his name? The attorney.
It was, Rick.
Rick Hall.
Rick
So I don't know if
Hall.
he helped with that process and trying to identify some other areas where we could recoup some of our losses. But to make a long story short, we were reimbursed $749,000 to County General that we did not anticipate we would get back. So that was part of the 15% doom and gloom. The other part of that was my conservative figure that I used for property taxes that we would collect. Typically, we figure we're going to collect 84 to 85% of our property taxes, and I was trying to be very conservative, knowing that times would be tough for people. And I used a figure of 75% to help our budget. That brought us even lower than what we had anticipated. With the numbers that the department heads turned in, I know this seems lengthy, kind of the whole story, you need the whole story to understand it. With the numbers the department heads turned in, once that number was advertised, we'll just say $7 million for an easy round figure, that the county was budgeting for their budget process, their hearings, we could not go with that by 1 penny. So with your budgets that the department heads turned in, it left us in an unusual predicament this time where it wasn't where we were going to cut. We had to make sure we didn't give back because we couldn't go above the advertised number. Well, DLGF just sent us back our 1782 form, and we are $490,000 to the positive. That means we're $1.2 million in extra budget that we hadn't anticipated on, that we will be able to sustain going forward. Part of that's the jail lit, part of it's property taxes. There's a whole bunch of different things that make this up. So we told everybody that there were no pay raises going to be given out this year. After talking with Gary and Jane, talked about it, and we came up with a safe figure. We can do pay raises. And I talked to the various council members to kind of get guidance from them as to what their thought process was. And I threw out a figure of $3,000 for all employees, except for part-time. And we can't sustain that. And we're still $5 million still positive. That's a big, huge hurdle that we've overcome since 2016. And a great part of that is owed to you department heads for working so hard and so diligently. And I made a promise to you in June that I would reevaluate when the time was appropriate to do so, to see about giving, what we could do. And there was no thought in my mind that we'd be able to do anything this year or next year. But we can do it, we can sustain it, it doesn't hurt the county, we're still saving money, we're still putting money back. Yet we're trying to make right what was wrong for so many years, which is the lack of pay for your services, for your work in the county. We certainly appreciate, it doesn't go unnoticed every day, the hard work that you county employees put in, the service that you provide to our citizens, regardless of what you get paid. We don't hear complaining. We know it's, a lot of you are here because you love the people you work with, you love your jobs, and we can't thank you enough for that. And as a way of saying thank you, we wanted to do something to show our appreciation for you. And since we can do a pay raise, that's what we talked about. Now, we have to finalize our ordinance, our salary ordinance for that, for 2020-07 is the ordinance. And that's all I have to say on that. I don't know if any of the council members want to chime in or say anything, but all we've heard from every one of these council members over the course of the years, we would give pay raises if we just had the money. We have the money. So there's no sense in not compensating you and getting you closer to your peers in the surrounding counties and still being conservative on ours end until we know exactly what we are working with each year. I don't want to be crazy and spend crazy money to get you back where you need to be. But on the other hand, I want it to be competitive, and I want you to be proud of your county and how you're compensated for that and the jobs you do, and that you know that we appreciate what you do. So, I've got nothing further to add. So with that, this ordinance 2020-07 is the one that includes a $3,000 pay raise for all full-time employees that fall under county general, as well as CASA, Health Department, 911. I believe that's it. Am I forgetting? Custodial services as well, because that's under the courthouse funds. We moved that from the county general over to there. So they would be included into part-time would also be getting a pay raise, which I think equates to about 5% for the regular county general employees. 911 would be different. They would get a $2.40 pay raise on their checks too. County 911 has done a fantastic job, considering the fact that they've been shorthanded. They lose a lot of people. I'd like to see us reverse the trend of losing people, of us educating people, getting their training, whether it be road deputies, whether it be jailers, whether it be 911 dispatch personnel, and taking their talents and their services to other counties because they get compensated more. And I can't blame them for that kind of money. You're talking $10,000 pay increase starting day one. You got your family to think of and to take care of. So I don't blame them. Also, to factor into this, which I almost forgot, bigger part of this, the commissioners have done a fantastic job of keeping the health insurance costs down. They have not done any pay increases, not cost of increase to their health insurance since 2017.
This is the first year since.
And this is the first year you guys do like 23% increase. So I think the largest increase, somebody will see $1,100 or is it $1,200? What's the biggest increase, $1,100 per family plan?
I think it's 1,100.
Yeah,
So
total.
we also didn't want to cut into what you were given last year as a pay raise. Here you got $3,000 pay raise last year. Oh, by the way, if you're on health insurance, you get $1,100 to give back to the county. So this will help ease that pain a little bit too, as well as getting you closer to your donut counties that surround you, or counties of comparable size for the same type of work that you do. Some places you do more work. So, Yeah, I don't know if anybody has anything they would like to add.
Council commissioners.
Council commissioners are not included in this pay raise. They are not included.
I know when I first came on my council, remember the budgets that were done the year before I came in, I sat in, and then when the first for the first budget we did last year, and once you get to know the public records that are out there to where you can see what other counties are being paid, because it is a public record that the public's allowed to see, I was astonished at the lack of competitiveness we had with our employees of what they were being paid compared to surrounding counties of smaller statute, smaller tax income and stuff. And I know the 911 situation and the Sheriff's Department situation, know them firsthand from being a first responder. I know what their turnover was. We even had people leave the Sheriff's Department just to go in the City Police Department. Because just going from that building over to that building, they get $10,000 more a year. And it was, as much as you might be dedicated to your job, everybody, especially young families and single-parent families, they have to do what's best for their family. And while this raise is not going to make them fully competitive with what the other counties are making, and we've got to move in a controlled step-by-step process to get them up there, because one of the questions I bore on Mike when we had our conversation about this was, we all know they need raises, but the sustainability of being able to do this next year and the year after that without having to take back on what we did. And this is a conservative way of making another step toward that I think we can sustain with these additional funds. And I don't foresee that it's going to affect taxes hardly. It probably won't even be noticeable based on the way we've got this balanced out. And I just think it's a move in the right direction.
Thank you. And John and I work with the Sheriff's Department and other agencies firsthand, and dispatchers, so we see a lot of this, frontline type stuff, and we know what a detriment it can be to, for example, and this is not making light or fun of anything by any stretch of the imagination, but, a simple grass fire being reported on 450 North or whatever, 450 where? Those are little things. It's a little simple little thing, but that could be somebody's life. That was just a grass fire. We need something bigger. So we have to do something to keep people here and not lose them. Thank you, John, for your comments.
Thank you.
Is anybody else?
Is this including courthouse employees too, or is just?
Yes.
Okay,
They fall under county general.
because I've had an opportunity to discuss some of them, and these people are valuable people. They can earn a lot more out in the community than what they earn here. If you don't have a functioning courthouse and you do get a turnover here you shouldn't have to put up with, you're in trouble, because it's great to have people that know what they're doing and you're able to pay them what they're worth. And I think if we can help them any way, we should.
Thank you, Bob.
I'm just glad we're able to do it, to try to get them back up, or get them up to where into that direction we need to go.
Good point. Does anybody want to make a motion for this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance
2020-07.
2020-07.
We have a motion to approve 2020-07. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote. Call for names, somebody.
Okay. Just Caitlin Alvey.
Yes.
John Clark.
Yes?
Bob Stewart.
Yes.
Holly Dunn.
Yes.
Mark Brockman.
Yes.
Kay Riker.
Yes.
And Mike Winter.
Yes. So we have 7-0 unanimous vote. We needed a 5-2 majority. We got it. So, congratulations. county employees, and thank you so much for your work. And I've totally totally forgot to introduce Bob. I don't know how I forgot until I started looking at him. Like, this is Bob Stewart, who's new to our council.
Where's Bob?
Kathy moved to Florida. Can't blame her if you look outside. We wish Kathy well. We thank her for her service, and we welcome Bob. Bob, again, I apologize for dropping the ball and not introducing you at the beginning of the meeting.
I like to stay incognito. You're doing fine. You know, I'm behind the screen.
But again, thank you to the county employees. It's well deserved. Again, you're not overlooked. You're not forgotten about. We do think about you often, and we know that you're, like Bob said, you could go other places and work, and it makes me happy to know that we've got dedicated, hardworking county employees, you know, punching the clock and doing the best they can and serving our citizens of our county and doing a fantastic job at it, so thank you. And thank you, Gary, for your help in this as well, too. All right, moving on, where am I now? What? Okay, the whole list of transfers.
Transfers or additions?
Gary, is this all for one thing? All these transfers, do you know, are these all for one thing?
The transfers, I believe, are some of the, Amanda and I was talking about it earlier. I think it's some of the change, most of them are because of the changes that were made in the auditing system.
Oh,
And
because what came through on,
Terry's been working on that, and in order to make it all legal,
Have a
departments have to
descriptive,
transfer monies
have a better description of what it
to
actually
have a
is.
better description.
Account numbers and create
So-
that fund.
Expenditures.
that weren't
it looks like we got about 30 of them on here.
over there last week.
Would anybody be opposed if we lumped them all together? Or would you prefer to do them individually?
Places where
John,
Please put them all together.
all the transfer requests, would you prefer to have, would it be okay to do them all together, or would you prefer that we do it individually?
Well, I was trying to explain to Bob about the account number change, because he had several questions on the monies and stuff on there when the State Board of Accounts added those accounts last year to
The
make funds more specific
Right.
on where they went. That was after we did our budget. And so we've got several accounts that are there with the name on it that didn't have funding put into them when we did our last budget. So majority of these, and maybe all of them, are just taking the monies from where we did budget them
Right.
in a general account and putting them into a specific account so they can be spent for that purpose that they
It's
were
just a
intended.
transfer, no,
So-
it's not additional.
Well, it's not additional, they're transferring from one fund to another so they can be spent for per the State Board of Accounts requirements.
It's already budgeted money.
It was already budgeted, but not in the account that the state has now set up for them, so.
Nice explanation.
Is that what all these are,
Yep.
every one of them? Well, I wouldn't have any objections to just make a motion that we approve the transfer request to meet the State Board of Accounts.
Okay. So that's your motion, John?
Huh? That is a motion.
I'll second it.
So John made a motion to approve all the transfer requests, and John did a great job of explaining what it is. It's not asking for additional money, it's money that's already been approved and allocated. It's just being moved from one cookie jar to another cookie jar because this cookie jar has a different number that it has to match up with this state. So thank you, John, for the explanation. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Which brings us to,
Bill McDaniel, go back to, there's some additional appropriations
Yes, some
ahead of
additional
that,
additionals.
the bill.
the three additionals,
Yeah.
on the first page. Apologize.
It's okay, I'm used to getting overlooked.
Too short.
Hey, that's a good answer.
Very plain, we just gotta get through that whole thing. Sorry, Bill.
Okay.
Bill,
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank what y'all just did. The three different things is pretty specific for the county employees. I appreciate it, and I know that other county employees are really going to appreciate it also. Now with the additionals, I think in the time I've been here, this is the first time I've asked for any additionals. And it's for two things. They're both, one of them is for Jeff Westling's legal services this year. And that's for only for the first half of the year. So I'm also asking for funds to not just cover what Jeff has billed us for, which is a $150 hour rate, which is for his government services. I'm also asking for some additional money in there because that's only for the first 6 months that we've been billed. The other is for the lawsuit. It's over the legal services, which is at a higher charge out rate from the lawsuits related to out there on 850 West with the confined feeding operation lawsuits. So just been providing those services, dealing with the courts with that. Now, prior to making this request, I transferred as much as I possibly could from other line items into those, so to minimize the amount of the actual additions that I need to make. And so this is all really to get square with Jeff this year.
So Jeff got his pay raise too.
Apparently so. Yeah, and since it's two different types of services, they're both charged out at the same rate. So one is from the line item we used in the past for the APC attorney. The other one is for the line item for the litigation.
You've heard Bill's request. Is there any questions for Bill? If not, entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve the additional appropriation request for the planning department.
Second.
Holly, did you second?
I did.
Oh, I thought you- See, I'm just trying to get out of here. Sorry about that. Holly, or Kay seconded that. So for the additional appropriate request for $3,000 and $4,116.65. A motion to approve. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Yeah. Sorry for the irony after everything else about the budget stuff. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, his $3,000, that comes out of your pay.
Oh, I knew there was something to that.
Where's yours?
Oh, well.
So much for that raise.
Yeah, that's a good $3,000 spent.
Thank you.
How you doing, Ruth?
I'm doing well, thank you. I would like to welcome Bob to council and thank Mark and Holly for their work as this is their last meeting, and thank all of you for all of your hard work. I know it's not easy to sit down and think about the hard things that you have to do, and we appreciate it. And thank you so much for what you've done this evening. Speaking of hardworking employees,
Don't ask for any more money.
my hardworking employee, as you know, I lost a staff member and had to replace him this year. And as a result of that loss, having to pay out his vacation time as he left, that's left me short on my budget to pay Kelly for the remainder of this year. So I have a transfer request. I'm transferring $250 out of one fund into that salary line. It's for meeting expenses, which I didn't have to use this year. And then I am requesting an additional appropriation out of general for $521.08. Jane and Amanda helped me figure up exactly what we would need to get us through the end of the year. But this is to go ahead and pay her out the remainder of the year, the rest of her salary for this year.
We're gonna do the 250.
Yep.
Mhm.
Make a motion to approve the additional appropriation for the recorder.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the additional appropriation for the recorder's office in the amount of $521.08. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
They already did the transfer.
Already did. One last thing before we go to patron concerns, actually two things for these patron concerns. I'm going to email out a list ahead of time of the different offices that will be opening up, so you can kind of look at them ahead of time and maybe get a feel for it, and, you know, throw your name in the hat for that position or whatever. It's always kind of like confusing at the beginning of the year when we get ready to do these appointments of who wants what, and so people get to look at it a little bit and think about it more so than, there's only a few that are designated for certain slots, but, and then it also gives you an opportunity, if there's something that could be filled, we would appoint a county citizen to one of these positions. It could help you to think of someone maybe that would fill that spot. With that said, I got one last thing before we go on to patron concerns. I could have Holly, Mark, and Gary come up front here. I'm trying to hobble over there, got a disc at me. Hello, Mr. Wolf. Gary, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Holly. For all the hard work you guys have done over the past few years, whether it's 4 years, whether it's 12 years, whether it's 16, whether it's 20, you guys sometimes don't get recognized and appreciated for what you do. I want you, and I certainly appreciate, and the council certainly appreciates your willingness to serve in these capacities. You give up time out of your lives and take time out with your families in order to serve in what sometimes we might think is a thankless job. But from my heart, I appreciate what you're doing and what you've done, and just, whether Democrat, whether Republican, it doesn't matter. You've all worked just as hard, and I want to thank you for your diligent service, and I appreciate it. So, council, if you want to say anything,
And we're gonna miss you guys very much.
which is a small little token of our appreciation. Okay, moving on to patron concerns. Dale, I think you said you had something?
Better be good.
Yeah, don't rain in our parade. We've got a good run here now.
Yeah, well, when I decided to wait until patron concerns, I didn't know you were going to do the little presentation you just did. But this being the last official scheduled meeting for the council for this year, I didn't want you all to get out the door before I stepped in and thanked Councilman Brockman and Councilwoman Dunn for your contributions that you've made to this organization for the last 4 years. I've certainly appreciated both of you, and I just wish that the general public had this same view of things that you two have, being, working with this the way you have. So I appreciate working with both of you for the last 4 years, both on the council and as a commissioner. And I wish you both every success at whatever your next endeavor is going to be. In Mark's case, I know that's going to be a vacation. Again? He and I did a little bit of shooting together here recently, and neither one of us could hit anything that day. So I think we might get together and do a little practice up on that respect. And while I'm at it, I'd also like to welcome Bob Stewart to the organization. Bob, there's going to be times when you may wonder what you got yourself into.
I'm already wondering it.
But you've got plenty of support. You've got plenty of good people around you, and if I can be of any service to you in any way, certainly don't hesitate to let me know.
Appreciate that.
So everyone have a great Christmas, great rest of the year, and I'm going to mark 2020 down as the year to forget. Thanks.
Thanks, Dale.
Thank you.
I also just want to say thank you. This has been an incredible opportunity. And to be real honest, Kayla and I were talking, all 4 years, we have just really, I think we've had hard discussions. And I mean, not all of them have been pleasant, but we've been able to get along and work through and kind of, I feel like, be critical thinkers. I think, some of you went before us and made some really hard decisions that made my 4 years easier, perhaps, but I think we can take pride that we've had 4 years of a balanced budget, and that we've all been very committed and caring people to one another. And so, yes, this has been a phenomenal experience for me. I hope to do something else again in the future, but county council has been good to me, and so thank you so much for letting me serve you these 4 years.
You're welcome.
Mark, it's your turn.
Yeah, Mark.
No pressure.
How many years?
Come on, Mark.
Well, I'm done with my public service. I'd like to thank the voters and people of Fayette County and Connersville and the other years for their faith in me. And I think, well, it's been a joy, it's been a pleasure, and I've really enjoyed it. Thanks.
And the thing is Mark, he can remember back when they voted on stone tablets.
Mark, I have a question for you,
Yeah.
being new here. How many years have you been on council?
County council is 6 years.
6 years, how have you kept your hair through all this?
Hey,
Well, there's not as much as there used to be.
I'm starting out with none to begin with.
Well, say goodbye to the rest of them. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, this has been good.
is there anything else from the patrons? If not,
I'll make a motion that we, don't wait, you need to, because you've been on here
Oh,
longer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's not make it go. Okay, let's do it. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I will second.
a motion to adjourn in a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And won't see you till next year, so have a Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you. Stay safe.